Hello! Welcome, and today we are going to make Nooch Tofu. I thought this was really a cute recipe to make and kind of clever with the name. So if you're wondering what Nooch stands for, it stands for nutritional yeast. And I just thought it was kind of a fun recipe to make and a great way to introduce you to another plant-based product. If a person was vegan and completely did not eat any animal products, one of their risks would be not to get enough vitamin B12, which we need for healthy blood cells. What's very cool about the nutritional yeast is that it actually is a pretty good source of vitamin B12. Here it is. So it's a great way for folks to get this particular nutrient. And like I said, this was just a fun recipe. I'm going to jump right in because the cook time takes a little bit, and I'm going to circle back around to some of the prep steps that precede where we are now. So I've got about, I'm going to say about 7 ounces of tofu here. And what I want to emphasize with this is that about per 4 ounces, which might be, close to about, 3.5, about half of this, there are about 7 to 8 grams of protein, a little touch of fiber, but the protein's pretty significant. So about 8 grams of protein in just this 1/2 of this particular chunk. I'm going to go ahead and slice it just to emphasize that 8 grams of protein. Where I'm going with this is, so I know folks sometimes will add tofu to a stir fry, and to get the equivalent of, let's say, 3 ounces of chicken, if you're making that substitution, you would need 3 times this particular chunk of tofu. So it's actually quite a little bit. So if you're like me and you like a lot of food, tofu is your animal. All right, so let's get started. The first step here is really just to cut the tofu into bite-sized pieces. Now, I like triangles. I think they're super fun and they make a very creative presentation. So I'm just simply cutting these blocks, these 2 blocks in half, and then just like you would cut a sandwich in a diagonal again. One of the characteristics, I am using a Santoku knife, and I like this for cutting tofu because here you can see some of those indentations, those dimples. This helps prevent the tofu from sticking when I slice. Oh boy, I can't believe it. Someone's at the door. Hang tight. When does this happen? Somebody sent me flowers. Okay, you guys are privy to really an exceptional moment because I'm going to see who sent them to me. Really beautiful. Put this back here with our pumpkin display. So, just to fill you in, since you are here at this very amazing moment, I am completing my 9th year as spokesperson for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and they sent me flowers to commemorate my retirement. We can only serve 9 years, so that's 3 terms, and it's really been an amazing, it's just really been an amazing 9 years. I couldn't imagine it coming to an end, but it has, and I'm excited for the new people who will take my place, and I'm excited for the new ventures once retirement is official at the end of May. So this was really, really special, and I just want to thank you real quick for being a part of this moment with me. A little surprising, but great. All right, so back to tofu. We have it sliced in our little triangles. Now, this recipe is going to come together so super simple. I've got a bowl here. We're going to put the other ingredients right in the bowl, and it's going to call for a tablespoon of cornstarch. I have it pre-measured. Oops, not quite coming out of there. I have the windows open, so it's a little humid in here, but that won't make a difference. A teaspoon of garlic powder. Again, the humidity got the better of my ingredients. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and again. Scrape that in. Now, the exciting part is our nutritional yeast. And if you're really wondering what this looks like, what it's like, I think this is an exciting ingredient that we can play around with because it is yellow and rather flaky and is used quite often in place of Parmesan cheese. I wouldn't say it's exactly Parmesan cheese, but to give you an idea of what this looks like, I've just measured out our 3 tablespoons, and you can just see how flaky it is and how nicely it might toss with pasta or perhaps fresh popcorn. Anyway, we're just going to add that right into our bowl of other dry ingredients, and since we do have a bit of humidity, I'm going to keep that closed. And if you haven't tried this little trick, whisk your dry ingredients together before adding them to, let's say, your wet ingredients. Yes, you could use a sifter or perhaps run some items through a sieve. Because of the nutritional yeast and its flaky qualities, you couldn't really run that through a sieve, but whisking it together makes the perfect mix. And I've got this great new orange plate that I'm very excited to use. Must just sprinkle out our mixture over the plate. This is going to allow us to coat our little pieces of tofu. We will eventually be cooking these in a skillet with some oil. I'm going to add the oil first, and you'll see what a handy trick this is for only dirtying 1 extra dish. So this is going to keep you from dirtying 2. And simply coat the bottom of the pan with the oil, place the tofu in the cold pan with the oil, and I could use tongs, but I'm simply just going to use my fingertips and rotate each wedge of tofu until they are coated with the oil. Like I said, this is a great trick for not over dirtying pans. From the oil, they go directly into our dry ingredients on the plate. And some of these I'm just going to keep to the side so that I have room for properly coating. While I coat these pieces, we'll turn on the element, and you want basically a medium heat. So these are going to cook up in the oil that we have spread over the bottom of the skillet and become golden and crispy. So really going to be a lovely little treat. I imagine these would be delicious on their own. In fact, that's how I'm excited to have them. However, you could certainly put them with a sauce like a marinara sauce or maybe something a little Asian-esque. I actually, for our presentation at the end, have picked some salsa, so fun stuff. So when we talk about tofu, I would say it kind of comes from, you're either on one side of the fence or the other. I find that there's some in between. Some people are just like, no way, not going to eat the tofu. Other people are love it, like it, have had it. And then there's kind of the in-between folks that just really have not had it quite yet in a way that they are just loving it. And I realize it may not be for everyone, but I have some amazing recipes that I think are transformative. If you're not quite sure that you are a tofu fan, please let me know and I can send you those recipes because you'll love them. There are other reasons why you might like tofu, because one of the things I didn't tell you was it is made from condensed soy milk that has been exposed to nigari, which nigari is what's left over after the salt has been removed from seawater. And it's full of minerals like calcium, and it is a coagulant and causes the condensed milk to curdle. Well, some of those minerals are left behind. So in the tofu, we have calcium, magnesium, manganese, selenium, and of course there's phosphorus, copper, zinc, and iron. So pretty cool. And this is not getting as hot as I would have liked, and when in doubt, that's what our backup stove is for, right? That is some serious combustion right there. All right, well, this will tell you it's going to get hot, lickety-split. Can't help the style of this video. And we'll get that in. Some other great reasons. I mean, obviously, tofu is a great alternative plant-based source of protein. And again, just to reiterate, if you like a lot, to have the equivalent of 3 ounces of beef, pork, chicken, or fish, you would have to eat approximately, let's see, 3.5, that brings us up to 7 plus another 3.5 would be about 10.5 ounces of protein, or 10.5 ounces of tofu to get that equivalent. All right, I hear the oil a-popping, so it sounds like we're ready to drop these in. I've got some tongs. I'm just going to be on the safe side for getting the tofu into the skillet. Once you put it in, it has a nice little sizzle there. Once you put it in, you don't want to move it. It's like cooking a piece of steak. You want it to release itself from the bottom of the pan. In other words, once it gets that nice crispy golden crust, it will, like I said, release itself. I just have just the right number to get them all into the pan here. Brava! So, while these cook and sizzle back here for about 5 minutes, because that's how long it's going to take to develop that crust, I can show you a couple other things. So first of all, tofu is going to come in a package. In that package, it will be surrounded by water. You're going to first want to drain off that water. And secondly, you're going to want to press or allow some of that water to come out so that it's not a watery product when you're cooking with it and eating it. So I had some leftover tofu, which I placed into a dish and I added water. I can change this water every day and keep this tofu for maybe 3, maybe 4 days. But really, you want to eat it pretty much right away once you've opened the package. Second step, like I said, you want to drain off the water. In this particular case, it's not a lot of water, and since we're here, I'm just going to lift this right from the dish and place it into a towel, and you can see how I've wrapped it here, and you'll be surprised how much liquid will come out of that little block of tofu. Now, to hasten this process, because you might want to let it rest in the towel for about 20 minutes, to hasten the process, you can place a solid dish on top, perhaps a chopping block, and even add a little bit of weight by putting a can on top. This will hasten the process. Or you can slice the tofu into thinner slices and again put a towel not only on the bottom but on the top and add a little bit of pressure. Don't forget to use a clean dish towel, of course, and you're ready to go with your tofu. I'm just going to take a peek back here. Wow! I wish you guys could smell how delicious these are. Woo. So I just peeked, which is what you shouldn't do, but one thing I noticed is that the tofu released right away from the bottom. It is getting a little bit golden, but I'm going to go maybe a minute more, and it gives me a chance to tell you about some of the benefits of eating tofu. There is a lot of research that supports tofu benefiting our bone health, brain health, menopause, skin elasticity, weight loss, of course heart health. We hear a lot about that connected to the isoflavones in the tofu. It's associated with lowering our blood sugar, lowering our blood pressure, and reducing our risk of cancers. Not only cancers of the digestive tract, but I have some interesting statistics that have looked at prostate cancer, for example. I wanted to be equal and give equal time to men and women. So men who ate men who ate more soy had a lessened risk of developing prostate cancer by 32.5%. Pretty significant. Ladies, keeping you in suspense as we check our tofu. Gorgeous! Wow! And I like a little crusty here. These are gorgeously crusty. Nice and golden. I'll show you one here in a minute. I don't think I can actually bring one over without dripping the oil, but they're going to cook about 5 minutes on each side. So we're just moments out from being completed. And ladies, now, all right, so if you have been wondering what the benefit of soy is for you, believe it or not, we do hear pros and cons on both sides of the breast cancer issue. There is mounting information that shows that eating soy throughout adolescence reduces our risk of breast cancer, as well as consuming it in adulthood can reduce our risk of breast cancer. Postmenopausal women can actually, who consumed, there was a 2-year study that looked at it, and I'm actually looking at the statistics now, a 2-year study that looked at postmenopausal women that ate 30 grams of soy isolates. What they found was that they had a reduced fasting insulin of 8.1%, so that was the reduction. They had insulin resistant reduction by about 6.5%. Their LDLs, the bad cholesterol, was reduced by 7.1%. Total cholesterol reduced by 4.1%. So some pretty impressive statistics here. Let's not forget our little treat, because absolutely this is our point. Wow, that came together really super fast. And I've got a plate already prepared because I really can't wait to taste these. Oh my goodness, how gorgeous. Well, that one needs to go a little bit longer. Actually, a couple of them need to go a little bit longer. But let me show you just how pretty these look. And because I cut them in triangles, I was aiming for fun food, which I thought you would appreciate. And I have some fun utensils here. So I've got the chopsticks, and we'll just try that in just a minute here. Carrot sticks, of course. Carrot sticks are gorgeous. Maybe some celery sticks. And this would help round out this little snack that we have going on. As I mentioned, I have some salsa that I prepared, and together this is just, to me, absolutely fun food. I'll give it a try. I know it's a little risky, a little hot, but you can see that gorgeous crispy crust. And if you're wondering what the nutritional yeast might taste like, it has kind of a cheesy-esque-ness to it. And with that being said, another question that people often ask, well, I know that there is B12 in the nutritional yeast. Could or is that destroyed with heat? And the answer is no. So, okay, my chopstick skills are not as great as maybe others, but here we go. I don't know if you heard that little crunch. So delightful. Crunchy, tasty. It's got a nice little light flavor. Really, really good. I like them definitely on their own. You're going to have to tell me how you like them and what you try them with. Really, really good. Well, bon appetit.